Cannons podcast. You guys know who these two beautiful faces are, but you also might know our special guest, the one, the only writer, producer, extraordinaire, Evan Winter. What is up, man? What is up?
Thank you for having me on. It's
finally another white person on the podcast.
Yes. Hey, don't hate. It's not the time to do that right now. We're all about love right now. But thank you all for having me.
My bad.
It's a pleasure. And the side stank ass. We're good to go.
Yeah. How you doing, Stank? Doing good today?
I'm feeling a little salty right now, bro. I'm a little bit salty. You know,
I'll be honest, man. I'm pretty fucking salty too.
Yeah.
Be honest, I'm pretty fucking salty. You know why I'm salty? I think you know why I'm salty.
I know why you're salty for the same reason I'm salty.
Yeah, I'm pretty salty.
We kind of got stabbed in the back. I feel like a big knife in my back right now.
Yeah. It took me a couple hours to get that knife out of my back when I first heard it. Our best friend, number one fan of the show, Matt Gay, his words were taken out of context, twisted, used by the fucking media, just absolutely abused. And it just, I can't even begin to explain or express the anger that I feel on behalf of my brother. Yeah, you know what? Matt Gay's my fucking brother now. And he's Stank's brother. He's probably Evan's brother if you ever met him. I know he's Christian's brother. Christian cuts his hair now. They're like best fucking friends. It's awesome. But, man, so I was listening to the Ira Kaufman podcast with JoeBucsFan, and they brought up the fact that Matt Gay was on our show, and something irked one of the Joes on there, not so much Ira, was that Matt Gay stated
Lee
DeKemper apparently had a problem with something that Matt Gay said. But you know what, Lee? If you're going to tell people what Matt Gay said and then also explain how it irked you, why don't you finish actually listening to his entire statement before just taking one sentence completely out of context and twisting it to fit some stupid fucking narrative? Because when Matt Gay said, in response to my question of what did you learn, what was the biggest thing you learned in your first year as a kicker in the NFL, he responded with, every kick in the NFL matters. Now, if you were to take just that sentence, sure, it'd be like, that's kind of a perplexing thing to hear. But it wasn't just that one sentence as his answer. He said the margin of error in college is a little, the margin of victory, is a little more expanded. And a kick in the first quarter in college doesn't necessarily matter as much as a kick in the first quarter in the NFL does. He completely understood that kicks matter in the NFL. I mean, every fucking kick matters. He even says every kick matters. It's just that at the NFL level, because of the low score, not low, the
margin
low
for
margin.
error.
Yeah, low margin for error. Most games are decided 4 points or less, by 4 points or less. I mean, that's an extra point and a field goal, right? He understood that. He said that himself. So if you're going to fucking take his words, at least give people who listen to your show and read the publications on your, on your website that, give them the entire fucking segment. So they understood, Matt Gay's not a moron the way you painted him to fit some fucking narrative. He understands. He understands it completely.
The biggest clown in Bucs media history, probably. This Lee DeKemper is not respected outside of maybe in the media room. That guy is a moron. Okay, I mean, just anybody who listens to that podcast, and I like Ira Kaufman, I do. Obviously we've done stuff with JoeBucsFan before, but that clown, bro, like the shit that comes out of his mouth. I get it. It's entertaining for some, but.
No, nobody.
I'm taking this personal because
man. I mean, come on.
If anything, Matt was extremely open and transparent about. I mean, it was an incredible podcast. Without us interviewing him, we didn't even interview. Without us grilling him, he himself just opened up and talked about the season. He brought up the Giants game on his own. We didn't ask him about that. We didn't bring it up. I think
he was completely transparent. I mean, he brought it up himself, and we were hanging out with him.
He knows he struggled last year, but to then turn the screw and try to make it look like Matt's some dummy, some idiot, or he came in unprepared. because he didn't understand, how important the kicks were. That's not what he said, and they just twisted it, and just to make him look bad. And I want to say, Ira said, "Yeah, I'll be surprised if he makes it out of the preseason." Yeah, fuck you, Ira. Okay, how about you get Rondé Barber in the Hall of Fame, bro? How about you get John Lynch in the Hall of Fame? All right, nobody gives a fuck about your beat salad, okay?
And like, I've never really had a problem with Ira, but to sit there and
Now
say, I don't know if Matt Gay's even – I'm not convinced that Matt Gay's even going to be the kicker in week 1. He said that. He fucking said that. First off, he's a fucking Hall of Famer. Second of all, this podcast is not going to put up with some fucking slanderous ass shit about Matt Gay. I mean, come on, bro. If you want to talk and point and say shit, I'm surprised you're still the fucking Hall of Fame presenter for the Tampa Bay media. What the fuck, man? I mean, come on. Isn't it maybe time? Maybe we should entertain having someone else fucking present for John Lynch and Rondé Barber. It shouldn't be that difficult to get these guys in. I mean, you're so fucking great, right? Come on. I don't want to sit here and take shots and make this a whole thing about, and some sort of axe to grind against Ira. I didn't have a problem with him. But that comment about Matt Gay, who do you think's going to take his job, Ira? You really think – I think he goes on to say if he has a bad preseason, I cut the kid. Did he have a bad preseason his rookie season? I don't think so. I don't remember that happening. So why is this even a thing to bring up? They took his words. They twisted it out of fucking context. Pissed me the fuck off. And you know what? They were fucking defending Jameis for years against people that did the same fucking thing. And then they go and do that to a kicker. A fucking kicker, man. Or, also, by the way, he's the leading scorer on our team. But whatever, bro. I mean, come on, man. He fucking owned it. He was transparent. He was super trustworthy in coming on. We asked him before the podcast, is there anything off limits? He says, no, man, we're hanging out.
Hell no.
Yeah, like, ask me whatever. And we didn't really ask him much. We just kind of hung out. And he was forthcoming. He brought that shit onto the table. He talked about the Giants kick. He didn't have to. And they twisted his words. I don't fucking like that. I don't fucking appreciate it. And maybe our viewers don't. Maybe they do. I don't care, man. I'm just going to bring up something that bothered me. It's had me salty for 2 fucking days. I know it's had Stank salty. Christian's not on with us. He's salty. X is not on with us. I know he's fucking salty. Evan, are you fucking salty? Yeah. Shit.
So let me start. This is like packing a suitcase for like a 2-week vacation. There's a shit ton to unpack here. Let me start off first with
it's such a weird cleat. What is that?
Hey! I'm trying to do analogies, bro. Okay, I'm trying to add to the drama that you just created. I mean, I can't really say I'm salty because I don't. It's y'all's content, and yes, they took it out of context.
It's your kicker, Evan. It's your kicker.
That's true. It is our kicker. But so let me start. Let's break this down kind of category by category from how I see it. I'll start with Ira. I respect Ira as much as probably anybody else out there. I remember reading his stuff growing up. Not necessarily sure why he's entitled to his opinion like everybody else when it concerns Matt Gay and his job in week 1. I'm not necessarily sure why he would make that comment, but like I said, he's entitled to his opinion. Matt Gay did go 17 of 18 after that Giants game when it comes to field goals. Not sure on his extra points. But then he had obviously the disastrous last few games at the season. But the rest of JoeBucsFan, however, not really too sure what to think of that because nobody puts their name on anything. So I don't really know who to attribute to what opinion, so on and so forth. And to completely take something out of context, me personally writing for a website that a lot of people do read, and we try to be as credible as possible. Whenever you're quoting a player or you're taking a quote that a player said, you have to take it into context, its full entire context. If you take it out of context, that completely defeats the purpose of putting the quote into whatever you're talking about or whatever you're writing. For instance, if I'm talking about a certain defensive coverage in an article, and I take a quote from Tom Brady, he's saying, cover 3 is really easy to throw against, but cover 2 is the best. And then I try to switch it around and say cover 2 is is I don't know. I'm really having a tough time with this analogy going off the top of my head. But either way, like you can't take shit out of context, man.
Wait, go back to the suitcases, bro.
Yeah, go back to the suitcases, right? Either way,
go back to unpacking. I don't know what you're talking about. You're talking about a hotel. Go back to the hotel thing.
And what is Matt Gay supposed to say? The extra points are a lot further than in college. The field goal posts are a lot narrower than in college. No, I mean, he's not like a quarterback where he can say, well, certain defensives do pre-snap cover. Now, this I'll hit this analogy. Don't worry. He's not like a quarterback. he's not like a quarterback where he can say, the safeties roll at a certain time in the pre-snap coverage or the post-snap coverage rather, or linebacker shifts, or there's a fire zone blitz whenever I expect a two-man drop or some kind of shit like that. Like, there's not too much a kicker can say. So and he realized, I believe, after that Giants game where he missed 2 extra points and 2 field goals, or maybe it was even worse than that. I mean, I think he did realize that every kick literally does matter.
I mean, he talked to us. He told us he made the mistake of just thinking that kick was in. He was already thinking about how they were going to carry him off the field. He was going to win the game, and he didn't go through his steps. He didn't go through his process of kicking that field goal. He said that. He owned that up. We didn't ask him about it. It just kind of happened. He brought it up, and he owned that it was his mistake. And that to me is a big thing. That's respectable to me. Like, he didn't hide from it. He brought it up. We weren't going to ask him about it. I mean, I'm not the guy that, I'm not interested in people asking me and picking at things that might bother me. So I wasn't going to be the guy that was going to do that to him, but he brought it up. And so we went with it. We rolled with it. And he understood. Like, it was clear he understood that all kicks matter. It was just that, man, like, a kick that I miss in the first quarter in the NFL could end up being the kick that we lose by. That's what he meant. And it was clear that he meant that. Right. And then they just took that one sentence out of it. And then what really fucking got me, man, was that I think it was Ira. Ira asked him, well, what did he say about the Giants kick? And his, I think you said it was Lee, right? Lee's response was I don't know. I wasn't even listening. I was listening, but I was hearing, but I wasn't listening because I had my palm on my face because I couldn't believe he said what he said. Man, that's a fucking cop out. You didn't listen to the whole fucking show.
That's as bad as me trying to do that analogy a second ago.
That's what he stumbled because he didn't listen to the rest of the quote. He didn't listen to the follow-up question that came up after that. Otherwise, he would have known the answer. And Ira, for the most part, was ignorant in it because he didn't listen. So
he didn't.
There's no really blame. There was no really blame on Ira. I just didn't fucking understand his comment of, I'll be surprised if this guy's. I'm not convinced this guy's even the starter in week 1. Why the fuck? Why? Tell me why. You're a fucking writer. Tell me why. Tell me why. That's how you're supposed to do it, right? You don't just fucking throw some shit out there and hope it sticks. Tell me why. Is that fucking that camp leg they brought in gonna be the guy who takes Matt Gay's job? This guy's a fucking Hall of Famer, man. What are you fucking talking
Listen, I want to go back to what Evan said. I mean, does JoeBucsFan have a responsibility when they report to report things accurately? I mean, they're not like us, bro.
They are like us. They're just fans.
No, I'm just saying.
Literally fans.
No, they're credentialed. Like they're credentialed media.
I know. But if you compare them to say like a Pewter Report, those guys are like actual like journalists. Those guys are like sports writers. Those are guys who report.
But both of those, all those guys. I mean, Ira Kaufman's a journalist.
Ira's the only guy, yeah. But the other guys are just Joes. Literally, that's why they call this fucking website JoeBucsFan. They're just JoeBucsFan. That's really what they are.
They both worked in and around the media for years.
I mean, I don't know,
man. I think that's just their shtick. They're media guys. I don't know about Isbits, but I know Lee and of course Ira are, and they've been in the industry.
Well, then they should know better. They should know better than take something out of context. Like Evan said, he writes for a website, and like that's the thing. Like they focus on that. You can't just throw shit out there. You got to kind of bring the context in as a whole package, not just 1 or 2 sentences or 1 or 2 words or half of a sentence. When people do that, like I've seen JoeBucsFan take that shit personally when they've done it to Jameis.
Well, they're clickbait. They're clickbait fucking, Inquirer, TMZ fucking website, bro. They're not. You don't go there to get the daily news, man. That they built their business model on just clickbaity shit. If you look all the stuff they post on their social, it's all clickbait shit.
Yeah, I mean, whatever, man. I didn't want to make this about attacking them and shit like that.
Oh, I do.
It's not
I do
about
because
that.
listen, if you come at Matt Gay, the official podcast of Matt Gay, the Matt Gay podcast.
Well,
by
that's
the way,
why I'm salty.
Evan,
We're salty.
By the way, Evan,
he fucked with our family member, bro.
You did.
You don't
Evan,
fuck with our family member.
I mean,
Matt Gay renamed the podcast the Matt Gay podcast.
They're using your work, they're using your content to attribute it correctly.
Yeah,
if taking it out of context, I completely understand, man. It's like if somebody used a quote that I gathered and use it to portray a different meaning, I would most certainly defend that player or whoever the subject is of the quote. So if somebody used one of my quotes off the Bucking Idiots podcast, first of all, I'd be surprised they listened. Okay, and second of all, I'd be hot because I put a lot of time and effort. I would spend hours a day prepping and researching for my show. As all of my listeners know, it's the most informative, stats-driven podcast out there. I only speak about facts. It's completely 100% serious. And, yeah, I'd be really hot.
You guys don't even know that it's secretly backed by Thomas Bassinger.
Exactly. Listen, Tom's my
Very
uncle.
statistically driven.
It's all about stats. It's all about facts. So
analytics.
Listen, you've been on a crusade, and I hope you don't get offended by this. You've been on a crusade to get followers to the Loose Cannons podcast on YouTube, and y'all should also follow the Bucking Idiots podcast on YouTube. Anyways.
Yeah, go ahead. Give them a subscription, guys. Hit that bell icon for the Bucking Idiots on YouTube. I think it's youtube.com, Bucking Chatterbait, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know what the URL is.
Just
exactly.
type in Stank Bastard Chatterbait Bucking Idiots, and it will come up.
It'll be like the first thing that pops up. I agree. But moving on, we did have some cool footage that came out a couple days ago with the Bucs and Tom Brady having another fucking workout, and the running backs were there, and Sean Murphy Bunting was fucking there. I don't know why I got so fucking hyped when I saw that the DBs were there, but man, I don't know who's operating the chopper, but I feel like I thought at first it was a drone, but man, I need like a drone. Who wants to fucking operate a drone over top of any, like all over Tampa for us? I'll take applications.
You actually texted the group text and said, does anybody own a drone? Like you were
absolutely.
Listen, that's all we need, bro, is to say Arab guy flying drone.
That's why I asked you guys. That's why I asked you guys. I have a no-fly zone pretty much in anything that flies and touches my hands. Like,
paper planes are just
not the time, bro.
Oh no paper planes. Absolutely no paper planes. No kites. You think I've ever gotten near a kite? Get the fuck out of here. I can't get near a kite.
Benjamin Franklin said, "Fuck you, bro."
It'll be like the first thing that pops up. Arab hijacks kite from local child. FBI.
Arab man flies drone near Tom Brady.
No, man, no.
But everybody's gonna know. Everybody's gonna know about fucking Berkeley Prep before it's all over with, dude. I mean, Jesus, that place is so famous by now.
It's a bougie ass school, anyways, bro. You want to pay $50,000?
I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, it's money. That's what
you guys see,
though, for sure.
Did you guys see how many passes went to those running backs? I'm excited, man.
It looked like a running back session.
Hey, speaking of stats, I can look up any stat. You want me to look up how many passes Tom Brady threw to running backs last year?
Do it.
Sure.
Listen.
I have Google too, Evan. Well, I don't know. What do you want?
Listen, it's interesting.
All right, you want to know how many he threw against cover 3 coverage?
He's got paid stats.
Yeah, bro.
He's got access to the real stats. What was interesting to me about that highlight clip, and if you guys haven't seen it, what's the name of the
Kevin O'Donnell?
Yeah, Kevin O'Donnell.
Has it.
Is it Kevin O'Donnell? Yeah, it's Kevin O'Donnell's the one who posted it. Shout out to Kevin O'Donnell. Love you, bro. He's the one who posted it. But if you really look at those clips, to me, the most impressive dude out there, and I had to, because it's hard to tell who's doing what, but to me it was Dare. Dare looked natural. I know I've mentioned it in the past. Everybody always shits on me when I say it, especially my friend Breeze Overrated. What's up, Yoel? Dare was looking in mid-season form out there. I mean, he looked real good. Quick feet.
He fumbled? Did he fumble?
He may have fumbled in the trail. I don't know, but Don't
Yeah, did he miss a
sleep
block?
on.
Did he slip on a screen pass?
Don't
What do you mean
slip,
by mid-season
Don't
form?
slip on. Don't slip on or don't sleep on.
Don't sleep
Dare
on.
Ogunbowale. Okay? Don't sleep on him. Everybody's sleeping on him. Don't do it. I'm warning you.
No, man. No. Rojo is going to be the best running back on this team. It won't even come close. He'll catch the balls. He'll run the ball. He'll do all of it. He's going to benefit from Tom more than anybody on this team, I think.
Tom Brady was second in the NFL with 159 throws to running backs.
Who was first?
You know,
Hold on, let me go back.
Probably Breeze.
Phillip Rivers.
No, Breeze didn't have a full season last year.
Rivers was first, then Trubisky, Rodgers, Kyle Allen, Baker Mayfield, Jameis Winston at number 7, Carson Wentz, Derek Carr, Gardner Minshew, top 10.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's safe to assume that he's going to throw to Rojo and Ron Jones, and the new kid Keyshawn Vaughn. Is that his name now?
Yeah. Hey, Winner, speak on Keyshawn, bro. He's from your neck. You got inside info on the guy?
I mean, no, nothing inside or anything like that. But no, he's good. I mean, his best year in Vanderbilt, he averaged over 7 yards a carry, and he was the lead back. It's not like he came in and ran the ball half the time and just had some big runs. He shows really good power when it comes to breaking tackles in the hole and all that good stuff. And he's really good in space. Very, very fast. Once he hits a hole, he's good. So, I mean, a lot of it's gonna depend on what the offensive line can do. But dude, he's explosive whenever you get him in space. So I'm sure.
I was told he was pretty much Vanderbilt's entire offense.
Yeah, 2 years ago, definitely. A lot changed last year, though, once Kyle Shermer left. And they had a lot of issues at quarterback last year, which really held them back. But, essentially last year, yes, and the year before, definitely, most definitely.
I had an insider, actually. This is not even a lie or a bullshit story. My friend who's in jail right now called me the other day, actually a couple weeks ago. We were talking about the draft. He's a Panthers fan. So he's not very excited about what's going on in Carolina right now. But he brought up Keyshawn Vaughn. He was like, hey, man, trust me, that guy's a sleeper. He's a gambler, bro. This guy follows every college and basically said that was his favorite draft pick that we took.
Nice.
So take it from my friend who's in jail, all Bucs fans. Supposedly, Vaughn is the real deal. His highlight tape looks good. We passed on Zach Moss for him, so I'm going to be interested to see. It's not quite Jameis Winston Mariota, but I'm going to be interested to see which of those two guys has the better career.
Well, it's funny how the whole Gronk trade might have a domino effect on everything because a lot of – and nobody's really come out and confirmed this, but a lot of speculation, and this is completely reasonable, is that the Bucs took Keyshawn in the third when they probably could have taken him later because they didn't have a fourth-round pick. Mm-hmm. And if Gronk doesn't play out like people expect him to, especially since he's making $10 million this year, which they could have used that $10 million to sign a really good backup quarterback. Jacoby Brissett is one person who comes to mind right now. He would only be a $6 million cap hit if the Bucs traded for him. However, that's a whole different another topic. Then you're really going to start to wonder, how much that, like I said, that trade for Gronk comes into the domino effect, whereas they could have drafted a different player like Zach Moss in the third round and then taken other players in the fourth round and signed other players to compensate. So it's definitely going to be something to watch this year for sure.
Yeah, there's another free agent out there who's I guess come out here
Cam Newton
in the last 24 hours and said he'd love to come here and play for Todd Bowles again.
Oh, Jamal Adams, yeah.
Yeah, that $10 million that we're paying Gronk sure would come in handy right now. I don't know. I don't know what to expect from Gronk. Is he going to catch 60 balls, 70 balls in this offense? If he catches 30 or 40, is that worth $10 million?
No, it's not. It's not worth. It's not worth, like I said, the depth. The Bucs. You look at a guy like Mackenzie Alexander, who's a pure slot corner, who's a really good slot corner. He signed for $4 million. I can't remember the team he signed with, but he played for the Vikings. the Bucs could use more depth at cornerback, even though they're pretty good right now after they drafted Winfield. There's just all different kinds of moves they could have made with that money. So, yeah, Gronk's, to me, man, I put a poll on Twitter the other day, and most people said, I think 50 to 75 receptions, 500 to 700 yards with 7 to 9 touchdowns was the bottom line, and I think that's pretty
But
reasonable.
is that $10 million worth of production?
Yeah, if you look at the tight ends that are paid, man, I mean, look at Cam Brate. I mean, shit, he makes $7 million a year, and look what he did last year.
Yeah, but last year you would have said that he was overpaid for, the amount of output he had.
My problem with the Gronk signing, a little bit of it is kind of, I feel like some sort of marketing.
It's definitely
there's a little bit of that involved. I don't think
for sure
he's playing anywhere near the volume that they had him playing in New England, just because he took a year off. So, stuff like that. I mean, you don't just jump right back into this shit and play a full season. It's not how it works. Your body's not, acclimated to it again. You've been in kind of a lazy position for an entire year. You're just hanging out, hanging out on the beach, partying, all that kind of shit. And his body was substantially smaller. And then he had to put that muscle back on. He looks pretty rigged out now, but I don't see them playing him to that same volume. I think he'll be a part of the offense, but I don't think it'll be that big. And I don't think it'll be worth $10 million. Will it be worth $10 million in other ways? Probably, because of the hype factor, all of that shit that's coming. They released his photos the other day, and it was like a fucking huge deal. Like, and I was there too. I mean, I understand it. There's marketing involved, and that's how you sell tickets. That's how you sell merchandise, all that stuff. It's part of the whole game. But like, if we talk about Jamal Adams a little bit too, if they don't draft Antoine Winfield Jr., I think it makes a little bit of sense that it could possibly happen for the Jamal Adams trade. But I don't see them drafting that kid and then going after this. And it's just less playing time for a kid that you think the more experience he gets, the more dynamic he becomes. They'd rather have him out on the field, especially if he's going to develop chemistry with the other guys in secondary who are all pretty much youngsters like him. Like, let those guys grow as a unit. Bringing a guy in like Jamal Adams, kind of goes against that. Maybe he teaches him a little bit, but a part of me also doesn't like the fact that he's so dramatic and so, it seems very diva-like what he's doing. And I don't know if I want that around those guys. They're youngsters. They seem pretty much sold in on the team. Just let it go that way. Let it develop that way. If that Gronk trade doesn't happen, maybe, but I don't see them doing it.
The Jets have already publicly said they're not going to get rid of the guy. So
yeah, but I mean that happened with
in the past, anyways. I don't know if that's has changed, but
yeah, but that happened with the Steelers and their running back. That happened with the Steelers and AB. I mean, it happened with the Raiders. They were not trading him, and then they fucking cut him. AB, guys just say what the fuck they need to say.
There's
and then
so much
teams say whatever the fuck they want to say.
There's uncertainty right now if the season's even going to happen. So I mean, I get why this guy's running his mouth and wants more money and not happy with his contract, but it just seems like it's.
Dude, he wants to be the highest paid safety in the NFL. It's not going to happen if he goes to the Bucs. Where are they going to get that money? I mean, you could cut Cam Brate. You could cut OJ Howard or trade.
He'd have to come here. He'd have to come here on a New England type deal and come here. Yeah, he'd have to come here just to win a Super Bowl. That's why he's not
going to do that. And I would never tell a player of his skill and at his age to take a pay cut. Fucking get your money when you can. So I get some of it, but it's not going to happen if he comes to the Bucs unless they have some. I mean, like I said, they'd have to trade OJ or get rid of Brate. I mean, there has to be some serious moves to get this guy's salary to fit. I mean, Evan probably knows that shit a little bit better than I do, but there would have to be a major piece moved in order for Jamal to come in here and get paid what he wants to get paid.
Yeah, just ask Earl Thomas if it's a good idea to come, play on a sweetheart deal or give a team a break and then risk your career.
Guys don't do that anymore.
Going back to the tight ends, you got Hunter Henry, who makes more than Gronk this year, or he's a bigger cap hit. Travis Kelce and Zach Ertz, obviously. Tyler Higbee is right below Gronk. Then you got Jared Cook at $9 million, Kyle Rudolph at $8.8 million, Jack Doyle at $8.5 million, Darren Waller at $7.5 million, and Greg Olsen at $6.9 million. So, I mean, tight end, that's the top 10. I mean, tight ends make pretty good money.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're about to see – I don't know what the 49ers plan to do, but we're probably about to see, the highest paid tight end
with
come out.
Kittle. Yeah,
with Kittle?
He's going to make at least
with Kittle.
13.
He's saying he wants receiver money.
Zach Ertz is a 12.4 cap hit. He'll make at least 13 for sure.
I'm not even questioning – I mean, Sammer, you brought up Gronk's health. He's probably a lot healthier now than he's been in years. I think he said as much because his body's had a chance to rest. I'm more so talking about, I mean, we got one football here, and look at all these fucking weapons. Like, if you're going to throw him the ball 70 times, how many balls is OJ catching?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
How many balls is Scotty Miller catching? We already know Scotty's catching 110. I mean, how many did Edelman catch last year? You can pretty much guarantee that Scotty's catching the same amount. Listen, again, we like to break news on this podcast. We're not even really media, but we break news all the time. All right. Some breaking news that it came from a source that's as close to, it may as well have been Tom Brady saying this to us, but we've heard that Brady's got a favorite. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'll let you. I'm going to hand you the ball and run with it. Brady's got a favorite.
Let me comment on what you said about Gronk first.
Okay.
Part of the equation in my head as to why he wouldn't be playing the same volume of snaps as he was in New England is because they have so many options that they need to get on the field and get integrated into this offense, and they only have one ball. And he's not playing on a team like New England where he was basically the featured guy
focal point.
Behind Edelman. On this team, he's what, like the third guy? I mean, you could argue that Evans and Godwin are going to be, they're going to be before him, and maybe even Scotty Miller. And I'm not even fucking joking this time. I hate to say it, but Scotty Miller might be higher up than Gronk. Or, maybe Gronk is number one because Brady knows who he is and he fits really nice in the 12 personnel. But either way, I just don't see them playing him that much because why? You don't have to. You legitimately have three starting tight ends. If OJ can get his head out of his ass, you have three starting tight ends in this team. They could start on any other squad in the league and produce.
Let's not forget, Evan just
hate on him, but he's the same. He's just as good as any other tight end in the league, I feel like. And he proved it for years.
Yeah, but Brady threw 158 balls to running backs last year. Like, where are all these catches going to go? I mean, where are all these throws going to go? They're
not going to throw the ball 70 times a game. They're not. I mean, this would have to be some sort of Madden type of fucking approach.
42-year-old quarterback, no.
No. I mean, I hope not. I fucking hope not. I hope they can run the ball and that Tom Brady's presence makes that an easier possibility because it didn't seem to work last year. I don't know if it was the quarterback or the scheme or the defense. I don't know what it is, the lead, whatever the fuck it was. I mean, we heard from Byron that he said, a lot of times last year they had to abandon the run because they were spotting teams 14 points. No, actually, it was Bruce who said it. They were spotting teams points early, and they just had to abandon the run. So it was just one of those things. Yeah. I don't see that happening this year because I think the defense will be better. But you never know. In terms of your little Scotty Miller comment, or your Tom has a favorite. Apparently, Tom's favorite target at these practices has been fucking Scotty Miller. If you guys watch the show enough, I don't fucking buy it. He's not special. He's not Edelman. Guy can't keep his fucking hamstrings on his goddamn legs. I don't like it. And you throw a ball at him, if he drops it or catches it, his hamstring explodes. Like, literally, it fucking explodes. You saw it explode on a touchdown catch in Detroit last year. Like,
he's not Sammy Stroughter, man.
Listen, I hate because my ego. It's pretty big, but it's not as big as yours, obviously. But I hate when I'm right.
I'm very humble.
I hate when I'm so right. Because
you're not right. You're not right.
I feel that for everybody else, especially you. Okay, I think I've been saying it for months now, maybe even years. Okay, Brady's got I don't know. Brady's got a type. We all know what that type is, bro. Just like I got a type,
Tall supermodel.
No, short, Latina. Anyways, but Brady's got a type. White receivers in the slot is the only thing he likes.
No, okay, but what about Randy Moss? What about Randy Moss? Was that his type? Huh?
I mean, listen, Randy Caldwell
was Givens his type?
Welker
was Troy Brown his type?
Brown, I would say Troy
was
Brown.
Troy Brown his type?
David Givens.
Listen, that's before he tasted,
No,
that's just that white slop.
That's just what they got him because that's what that offense was. They have Chris Godwin here, totally different skill set. I think a better skill set because he can break
Scotty
tackles.
Miller and Cameron Brate show. Get it going. Spencer Schnell, wide receiver.
That's right. That's right.
Fine. You know what? If he was such a big deal, we should just trade Evans, right? Let's get rid of Evans.
Mesh routes all day, baby.
That's right.
It's not happening, man. It's not happening.
I mean, realistically, it's going to be crazy to see how I wouldn't draft any of these guys in fantasy because I think it's going to be a different receiver each week, just like it is in New England.
There won't be a lot of volume. It won't be a lot of volume.
All right, so what? Brady threw what, like, or complete? I don't know. He threw like 538 or something like that last year. You divide that by 7. That's whatever that number is. That's how many targets, I guess, per person. So yeah, I guess the numbers are bound to go down. I don't know though. It's really hard to predict what exactly is going to happen at each position, especially the wide receiver 3 or wide receiver 3 position. Really feel like it's going to be Gronk, but at the same time, it could be a running back. So it's going to – I don't know. I'm excited about it, though. I don't know.
It's a good problem to have. It's a good problem to have. But if you play this team on Madden, like just you'll have it – I played it. This roster gives you anxiety when you're on offense because you're like, who the fuck am I going to throw the ball to this time? Like, you could legitimately throw it to anybody on the fucking on the field, and like, you get OJ and Cam and Gronk on the field, and then also make sure that Rojo touches the ball, and then you got fucking 2 Pro Bowl wide. I mean, dude, where the fuck does Scotty Miller even fit in? Fuck that guy.
He doesn't. And if we're in 11 personnel a lot, which as you
they
said
won't
before,
be, they're going to be in 12.
Well, I'm sorry. If they're in 12 personnel a lot, Scotty won't be on the field ever. So, it depends on the situation. You think we drafted a tackle in the first round. You think we try to balance it out a little bit more this year? If we can put an actual running game together, that would be great, wouldn't it? Would help out Brady. Or we, use the quick passing game, short passing game to supplement the run game like they did New England quite a bit. I don't know. I just want to see us be less predictable.
It'll be hard to be predictable when they're in 12 with the guys that they have now. Like that in itself will make it very hard to key in on if the Bucs are going to run, if they're going to pass, especially because Tom can just literally change it right then and there, depending on what he sees. I mean, it's going to be hard to predict what this team does because there's so many options, and you can't if you take one of them out of the equation, you still have another one that's waiting right there next to him. I mean, I'd like to see Scotty Miller get involved in a way that they kind of did with Troy Brown, a couple other like gadget type of guys they had back in the past in New England, where you kind of set him up next to Brady as a running back, where he can be an option, where he can be somewhere he catches the ball in space and he can run. And you know what, man? If Scotty Miller wants to fucking leave a stamp on this team after he does make the team, fucking take a punt. Take a punt return back, man. Fucking stop fair catching shit. Do something in special teams. Like, we have guys that can do shit. I don't see how he fits. That's all, man. And obviously the fucking hamstring problem. He's not Edelman.
He wasn't the only one that had a hamstring problem.
He's not Edelman. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He tore his hamstring like 13 times before the first fucking week of the season. You're like, where's Scotty Miller? Oh, he's nursing the other hamstring. How many hamstrings does he have?
If he can stay healthy,
Ricciano.
If he could stay healthy, he'd be the John Brown of this offense. I mean, he'd be the deep threat and all that good stuff. It would be a lot of fun to watch. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what happens, though.
Stain kind of touched on the fact that we might not have a season, or we might not have a season with fans.
I don't know how a season's going to happen, man. It doesn't, or a season, at least a season that is worth a shit. You know what I'm saying? Because 8 Alabama players tested positive in a week. So let's say that happens during the NFL season. All of a sudden, that's 8 practice squad players you got to call up just for an active game day roster.
Yeah.
And then let's say 5 more test positive the next week. That's still another game that those players are going to have to miss, those first 8. So now you're 13 down for that.
That's what I said. They need to triple the size of the practice squads if they're going to potentially have to pull guys from this pool
Right.
or allow us to keep, a bigger roster during the season or whatever the fuck, they're going to have to figure out a way.
But then that's
They could
more
probably
money.
make
That's more
exemptions.
money, and then if you don't have fans, the owners are going to lose more money, and then you're going to get into a situation with baseball right now where they're playing a shortened season. The shortened season, the money they're going to make off that doesn't equate to the salary. I mean, it's a fucking mess, dude. It's an absolute mess. I don't see how.
I mean,
Did you
on
see
top of
the
that too,
Clemson news?
Do
where they had,
owners and teams want to pay? Do owners and teams want to pay a Chris Godwin salary if Chris Godwin has to sit 14 days away from the rest of the team?
Right. I mean, are
they going to pay him?
I don't. I mean, that's
guaranteed. They're guaranteed contracts. They're getting paid whether the season happens or not.
Well, in the NBA, Adam Silver told players that they don't have to come if they don't want to the Orlando thing. So I don't know, man. It's just, and even with hockey, so they're starting straight off into the playoffs. Well, what if a hockey roster is 12 people or 11 people, something like that? What if 3 players test positive? Okay, that's 14 days. That's 2 weeks of playoff hockey. Imagine missing 2 weeks of playoff hockey or 2 weeks of playoff basketball.
That's an entire series.
Baseball players can miss up to 13 games in 14 days. I mean, and they're going to be missing over half their games. They're talking about a 60-game schedule right now. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. And even, like I said, even if they do have a season, is it really going to be worth the shit? Like, let's say the Bucs get to the NFC Championship and they win, and then Tom Brady and Mike Evans test positive the next day and they miss the Super Bowl. I mean, people are just going to be like, what the fuck? What does this even matter?
It's going to be like a strike season.
Yeah,
where you just kind of have to – I mean, listen, we know we're going to take whatever they give us. If half the team is made of fucking players that have no business being in the NFL, I will still watch it, bro. I don't care.
I mean, I probably would too. I'm not going to lie. I would too.
Yeah, we're all going to watch it. But
I was way more optimistic 2 weeks ago. But – man, the shit that's happening, especially in Florida.
The numbers are booming.
Man,
if you guys saw what I tweeted earlier, 10 feet, 15 feet away from me right now, there's somebody that has the coronavirus. It's not that far from me. This shit is as close to home as anybody wants to be. Nobody wants to hear my take on it. I've tried to stay away from it because of the industry I'm in, and I know all about, bacteria and small particulate cleaning and how shit spreads. I've been pessimistic quietly for a while on whether or not we're going to be able to keep this thing from spreading. But again, nobody wants to fucking talk about this shit. Nobody wants to hear about it. It seems like we bring it up every podcast, but I want to go under the assumption that there's going to be football. Otherwise, I'm going to be a really depressed dude for the
listen. The thing that keeps me from buying into the doubt that creeps in here and there is the fact that there's just billions and billions of dollars that would be lost, and I don't see the NFL owners losing that money. They will figure out a fucking way to get these games played. And I mean, if they don't have fans, they're giving back all that money, or it's going to be credited towards the next season. Something. I don't see them giving refunds, even though the websites say they will. I don't believe that.
Does the website say that? Does the website say that?
If you go into go check on your tickets, for instance, in the My Buccaneer app or whatever the fuck it's called, it'll pop up and say, in the case that a game is canceled due to unforeseen circumstances, yada, 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 if the game is not replayed at a later date, you are refunded that ticket or credited. It has some legalities kind of spelled out in there that are a little confusing, but a little, clear cut. But I just don't see no NFL season happening. I just don't see them canceling it because there's just too much money. There's too much money. They get paid by DirecTV. They get paid by Fox. They get paid by all these companies to have a season and to be able to host games on their networks. If they don't have a season, that money goes back. They're not opening their pockets and here you go, guys. How does that work? They're not interested in going backwards. They're not going to do that. They're going to figure out a way. That's what keeps me hanging on that last glimpse of hope that we're going to have this season. But it'll be a Bucs life if we don't.
Actually, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, and I could be wrong on this, but if I remember correctly, the TV contracts that the NFL has signed, or that the TV stations have signed with the NFL, state that even if the season is canceled, then they still have to pay out the money due to the NFL. I could be wrong on that, but I remember.
Right.
I think pretty sure I
stand corrected.
Radio station over here. So either way, the NFL is going to make some type of money. But I'm with you. I think there's too much for them to lose. And ultimately, whether it's wrong or right to have the season, I don't think they should. But that's obviously they don't give a fuck about what I think. Ultimately, I think they're going to push forward, and there's going to be a season. Yes.
What do you think is going to happen in college football? You think there's any way there's a college football season?
They have what? You can have what? Up to 80 kids on a college football roster. I think they'll just say fuck it and go with it. I mean, there's plenty of kids as long as, you're not having people getting hospitalized and dying. I think at this point they're going to go with it, which is pretty fucked up when you think about it.
I mean, college is a little bit different. College is a little bit different. The way I look at it, I feel like if they push forward, it almost feels like, it's like a coach forcing a player to play when injured and exposing other guys. Like, it feels like there's some sort of like level of abuse there.
It's fucking
they're not getting paid.
God knows what we did from 18 to 24 years old. I mean, there's 2 months ago, there were kids fucking funneling and rubbing all over each other on Panama City Beach, right in the middle of this thing. So hell if I want to go out and play and tackle some kid and his spit's getting all over me. And, it's just –
that's the thing I don't understand is they have these like rules set in place for these practice.
They're comical.
Like how they're going to practice at NFL facilities, how they're supposed to like interact, with the assistant coaches, things like that. But when they go out on the field, like there's blood, there's sweat, there's spit, like all that shit. Yeah. What are they? What's the point?
Even connect you with like, COVID. Let me just stick it right into you.
It's like listen, I want you to stay away from all those fucking dirty and germ covered kids all week at school, and then on the weekend we're going to the beach or we're rubbing our asses together. Like, what the fuck?
No, bro, that's like having sex and then putting the condom on when you're about to get in the shower.
When you're in the shower, yeah.
Afterwards.
I mean, it's like, okay, so we've social distanced from Monday until Saturday, and now on Sunday we're going to show up and we're just going to touch everybody on the field.
What about the NBA?
Where are those coaches going to stand on the sidelines? Are they going to 6 feet apart, the motherfuckers? I mean, you only have 100 yards. How are you going to fit those fucking coaching staffs and players behind them? I mean, what the fuck? How, like, the sidelines would have to be expanded. There's also, like, these rules are comical. There's no way that they can have those rules and the NFL season at the same time. They just got to be like, listen, we're throwing some caution at the fucking wind. We need to see Tom Brady in a red uniform, and we need this shit to happen in Tampa, and y'all just got to deal with it and sign a waiver. And I bet you players will sign that waiver and be like, yeah, man, I'll take the chance. Let's go. And you know what? If they ask me to sign a waiver to be in the fucking stands, boom, sign me up. I'll fucking mask up, a glove up. Let's do this shit. I'm there. I don't care. I know Christian will be there. I know X will be there. I'm pretty sure Stink will be there. I don't know. He's really, really fair-skinned, and, he just looks like he could catch it really easily. Look,
Evan's more fair-skinned than me.
Evan might be there.
Look at this, man. Look at this.
Look, Evan's whiter than me, maybe.
Yeah. No, bro, you are fucking transparent. Look at that. You become pure, your Photoshop, empty document white. Look at that.
What do you mean,
no,
bro?
Evan's got a little, like, pinkish tone to him.
That is pretty fucking white right there,
That's white, dude. Look at that. That looks like E.T. when he's in that fucking, like, makeshift hospital outside the house. Right before he looks like he's about to die, and then all of a sudden the plant saves his life or the kid saves his life. You look like that. That's what you look like.
I have better lighting than Winter, all right? I have better lighting. If he had the same kind of level of lighting I have on me, he'd be glowing too.
He's at some like fucking rock and roll recording studio. He's got all these fucking like but Rolling Stones fucking covers behind him. What the fuck? Where are you? That doesn't even look like a house.
Yeah, bro, it's my man cave, man. It's my music room, my boom boom room.
You should do next time we have you on, I want your face just in one of those frames. I'll make you a fake Rolling Stone cover with your face on it.
Hey, going back to this thing's comment about the shower, it reminds me of a 40-year-old virgin when he's like, I left the condom on and got in the shower with that was fine.
It's just to make everybody feel better. I hate being lied to, bro. I hate when everybody knows they're being lied to, but they kind of just take it anyways to make themselves feel better. I don't know. It's one of those weird things. Like, obviously the fan of me wants the season to happen, but the human in me is like, yeah, it's probably a bad fucking idea.
It's definitely a bad idea.
I mean, it's risky for us. I mean, I have kids. Evan's got a newborn. Congrats, by the way. I mean, Stank's probably got, his kids are a bunch older, but there's a risk there involved. And he's got a wife. He's not allowed to have sex with her for 2 years. But
yeah, I'm social distancing before it was cool.
Did y'all see the real HBO episode where they did a story on how sports stayed open for the first few days after the original shutdown? And there was an estimated extra, I think, 80,000 cases off of those sports events alone just because they didn't shut down whenever everybody else shut down.
Fake news.
Absolutely crazy, man.
Fake news. I don't want to believe it. Nope, didn't happen. Hey, did you guys see the Bucs unveiled all those awesome photos of Tom Brady and Gronk in red, pewter, and white? Yeah! No disease even exists. No joke, though. Seeing those was fucking –
Oh, yeah. It was great, man. It was
awesome. It's like, oh, my God, it's fucking real. And I'm thinking, I hope we get to see him.
Dude. They're so fire. The all pewters are so fire, man.
Bro, the more I look at that all pewter, the more I'm like, man, this should just be the main uniform color.
Oh,
and then the white would just be the away. And that red one just come out every now and then. But that pewter.
My initial reaction was like, the pewter's incredible, and I like it less and less every time I see it.
You're crazy. I think you're seeing it because of that black background that's absorbing.
Maybe.
It's absorbing into that color.
No,
the color in
that. It's the helmet. The helmet isn't flat, and the flat gray uniform just clashes to me. Yeah, I would. It's got much better if the helmet was
It's
flat.
got more sheen to it, though. It's got more sheen to it if you see it outside in the sun. It's got more sheen to it, man. It's got more.
I love flat. I love the flat helmets.
I agree.
You said sheen, and you're rubbing your tits when you said sheen.
Yeah, it's one of those things I do. But yeah, I'm a huge Matt helmet guy. Like,
Evan, you ain't got
Matt
Evan has
guy.
no titties, bro. Evan, you ain't got no titties.
Hey man,
I don't really have titties either. I just like touching my nipples. That's all. It feels really incredible, to be honest.
You can always get a boob job, though.
Yeah, see, man, what I do is I rub Becks Baby Oil like on my nipples, then I put my shirt on, and then we start the show.
Specifically,
now everybody knows that. Nobody really knew that. What was that?
It's got to be specifically Becks Baby Oil, though, right?
It's the only baby oil I use. Come on. I sent a bottle to Stank.
It's made with real bits of babies, bro. Come on.
I sent you a bottle, Stank. I sent you a bottle. Did Christian get it in your hands?
No, he hasn't been over here yet. And now that my neighbor has COVID, nobody's coming near me, bro.
No, man. He will bring you. He will bring you the baby oil. He'll just like toss it through that French glass doors or French doors of yours there. Just toss it right through there.
Airlift it down.
With the drone.
He'll bring it down. He'll bring it down in the drone that we're going to use to record every Tom Brady workout from here on out. Fuck yeah. Take that, Kevin O'Donnell.
Is Kevin the one in the helicopter flying it with the camera?
According to somebody, I think it's a shared helicopter.
No, he's got the other person credited in his stories and stuff. I can't remember what their name is.
Damn.
I think the chopper is shared by News Channel 8 and Fox 13, so they both get to use the footage or some shit like that.
Like I'm sure that shit wasn't on their resume. Hey, can you fly a fucking drone? So I'd be like, bitch, pay me extra.
It's a helicopter. I thought it was a drone too, but Christian told me it was a helicopter.
It's a helicopter.
It's a helicopter. Yeah, and the helicopter's shared by the two networks apparently, 13 and 8, which makes no sense to me. And like, why the fuck can't you just have your own choppers? I mean,
I'm a fucking idiot. Never mind.
It's like a ride sharing thing now.
I thought it was a drone. I was thinking, let's get the drone. We'll capture the footage. TMZ will suck our dicks. It'll be awesome. You can say stuff like that on this podcast, by the way, Evan. You can say pretty much whatever you want. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Anyway, the uniforms got me pretty hyped, man. The uniforms got me pretty hyped, and they're just going to keep releasing uniform pictures until everyone just believes the season's going to happen. It's like what 3,500 cases today?
People in the stands. They're gonna like start putting people in the stands and shit.
Yeah, I mean, next we got to get our draft pick, in the uniform photos. And they should do a whole team photo, and that'll be the 2020 version of the Buccaneers, and the rest will be played on Madden.
Yeah, I guess. But hey, we kind of glossed over some. When Bruce talked about how they're kind of starting training camp at a certain time and what the rules are and things like that, he brought up the fact that they don't like that they haven't gotten their hands on their rookies yet. And I really didn't think much of that. until he said something about it. And it's kind of a big deal. Like, they're not going to have the rookie camp. They're not going to have time to get these guys ahead of the curve before they even hit the ground running at training camp, which changes things substantially. Like, how are these guys going to – I feel like they're going to have a more steep uphill climb to get used to being in the NFL. And that's kind of a big deal for the guy who's going to be protecting Tom Brady.
Listen. The team can't have those practices, but Tom Brady can.
He's not taking Wirfs under his fucking belt and helping.
You better believe yes, he is. He's going to fly him out to wherever they go for vacation. The entire 53-man roster will be out there practicing. We'll be ready, bro. Tom's not going to allow it.
The thing was, like, we drafted a guy who basically every expert said was kind of a ball of clay. He still needed some molding. He was more raw than the other guys, but his ceiling was much higher. That's not good that he hasn't been able to play and practice with his coaches. Like, I need those guys working on him, because if he fucks up, Tom's dead. And then who comes in? The COVID-19 fourth stringer?
Yeah, every team is experiencing the same limitations as we are. So
I agree. But
that's gonna be the rule for everybody. And right tackle, you have a little bit more leeway, I think, than you do at left tackle.
For sure. But at the same time, if a quarterback's learning a whole new offense, then that in itself is a big deal. So but no, yeah, every team is facing the same amount of circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
It still, to me, is kind of worrisome that they're not getting together, and the fact that you are missing out on rookies who, a lot of these rookies are going to be contributing valuable depth. I mean, the one thing about this team, and this also links into COVID as well, is that there isn't a whole lot of depth in certain areas. I mean, when you look at secondary, if one of the top cornerbacks go down, Carlton Davis, Jamal Dean, or Sean Murphy-Bunting, that means Ryan Smith or MJ Stewart, your third quarterback. Yeah, exactly. And what if MJ or one of them gets sick with COVID? Then you're dipping down to Mazzie Wilkins, which, as great of a story as he is, don't really know if I want him guarding Julio Jones or somebody like that in the NFC South. So
if they have 27 different coverages for him, I would be.
Bro, just put Ryan Smith on Julio Jones. That worked out really well. Exactly. Last time we did that.
Right.
I'm convinced they're going to add somebody who gets cut into that secondary room.
Right. Well, you would hope so. I don't know, but yes, I mean, it's a big deal though, man, and especially for my guy Josh Pearson out of Jacksonville State, man. I'm a huge fan of his. He's a wide receiver, but yeah, it's a big deal for a lot of the youngsters.
I mean, it's something that's going to play into the season. I know all the other teams go through it too, but if you're facing a defensive line who has guys who can rush the passer and have been playing for 5-6 years in the NFL, your rookie is at a disadvantage already with camp. Now he's going to be.
He's been getting Zoom. He's been getting reps on Zoom this whole time, bro. He's going to be just fine,
shit, man.
Ain't shit. One thing you got to think about too is look at the defenses they face in the first few weeks, especially the edge rushers. You got Cameron Jordan and Marcus Davenport in week 1. You've got Brian Burns and Gross Matos in week 2. You got Von Miller and Bradley Chubb in week 3. You've got Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram in week 4. You've got Khalil Mack in week 5. I mean,
he's getting thrown into the fire.
Yeah, you got the Smith brothers in week 6, and then you just keep going and going. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all if this defense is the strength of this team for the first few weeks, because every single starter on defense returns. Whereas you've got you're breaking in a new quarterback and right tackle, even though those two positions play every snap of the game. And it's only 2 positions. There's still 2 pretty crucial positions.
Yeah, I hadn't even considered the murderers row we're coming out the box against.
Yeah, well, that's
defenses are always ahead of offenses, at least for the first few weeks, because it's it's a react and attack type playbook. It's not like you're learning a brand new language. Whereas our quarterback, our right tackle, Our tight end who are going to be one of our tight ends we're going to be, relying on, plus the entire offensive staff learning the quarterback. That's going to have to play out on the Berkeley Prep high school field, I guess. I don't know.
Is there a reason?
So much rides on Berkeley Prep. So much rides.
It does, man.
Is there a reason that they don't have the rookie out there with Jensen and the other guys? Is there a reason? I mean, I know I don't think they're anymore.
I think it's 100%. He's
not signed. You're right.
Yeah. Good point.
I didn't think about that. You know who else isn't signed? I didn't even really realize this until an article came out earlier in the week. Shaq Barrett still hasn't signed that for franchise tender.
Really?
Yeah. I read that too. I didn't know that either.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. And that deadline's coming up. And
July 15th.
July. Yeah, middle of July.
Taxes are due, I'm pretty sure.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I should worry about that or is it?
I wouldn't right now. July 10th. I would worry on July 10th.
That's a good point, Evan. If he waits until after the tax deadline to sign, then he gets an entire, extra year to pay taxes on that.
Yeah, but that
contract.
No. Yeah, but it would still be in 2020. It wouldn't matter. You would still be paying it at the same time.
Well, I think
2019 is already done.
I think July 15th is the deadline for a long-term deal. I think passes, he's got to sign. It's the franchise no matter what. So I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I'm talking about the tax thing. I don't think it matters on taxes.
No, you're right. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking.
It's still the same year.
You're talking taxes. I don't know what the fuck.
It's still the same. It's still in the same year.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm an idiot.
Yeah, thank you. Bucking idiots.
You're
right?
welcome. You're welcome.
Bucking idiots, right? I mean. I didn't think about the rookies not being signed, and I think the longer this goes on, or these guys can't actually be in the facility, because I think, especially in Florida, I think that maybe things are gonna get pulled back a little bit more by the NFL. I mean, I hope not, but if they don't get these guys in there, I think Tom's just gonna start bringing in more guys. You're gonna see defensive line and offensive line out there working together. I mean, what prevents them from doing that? Is there a rule in the NFL that says like all teams can't just hang out together and practice? Is there a rule against that?
I don't think so. I mean,
I don't think so either.
They're free to do whatever the hell they want in the off season. It just can't have coaches out there.
Yeah, as long as it's not organized by coaches, right? But who the fuck is going to see that, right?
I think it depends on your state laws, what your state laws require and all that stuff. So
yeah, but I mean, BA could have a burner phone. Byron could have a burner phone. Tom could have a burner phone. They communicate to him.
I thought you said burger phone.
No,
remember those burger phones, the flip burger phones?
I know what you're talking
about. You'd open up the burger and you'd hold it.
I'm 35. I'm not 52. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
It was a hamburger, and you open it up and you talk. And
the only unique telephone I knew growing up was a pair of fucking lips, and that's only because I saw that shit on like Full House. It was in like.
How do you not know what a burger phone is?
Well, the good thing about one Buck is it's fucking gigantic, or at least the practice field is, so they can still practice and still do 6 feet apart.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about them practicing at Berkeley and IMG and like in Tom's Utah plantation or whatever the fuck he calls it.
Go back to one fucking Buck. They can at least they got plenty of.
They're going to Utah, man. Christian told us earlier.
Stop trying to undercut me. I'm not trying to do that to you. Stop trying to do it to me.
Yeah, I'm taking everything you say out of context. I'm going to Joe Bucs fan your ass the entire podcast.
They're going up in the mountains.
You've been JBF.
JBF. Be like a stamp that just goes right on your face every time I cut you off during a podcast.
They don't give a fuck. If you even hear about how pissed off we are about it or that we were upset, they're going to be like, good.
I stopped watching 30 minutes ago when we stopped talking. We talked
That's
about
right.
6 minutes. And that was it, like, fuck it, we're moving on.
Yeah.
Oh, they stopped. Okay, no big deal. Oh, man. It's too bad we couldn't have Christian hang out with us because I think he would have had some weird questions about running backs for you, more than likely. Specifically, Edwards Hilaire.
About Clyde Edwards Hilaire.
We can play a game assuming what Christian would ask.
All right. So, Evan, what do you think about the possibility of the Bucs trading for Clyde Edwards Hilaire?
That would be funny.
That's Christian's question.
I think it's about as likely as them getting Tyreek Hill and Patrick Mahomes in the same trade.
I also like Tyreek Hill.
Yes.
What are the chances of Tyreek Hill being traded to the Buccaneers?
I like Pat Mahomes a whole lot more today than I did yesterday.
Oh yes, I'm
Oh
sure.
man.
Man,
Dude, that guy
I'm a
gained like
big Pat
3,000
Mahomes fan.
followers in like one day. That I don't know who that guy is. That Atlanta Falcons fan / designer for fun. I don't know what the fuck.
I don't know, bro.
That guy gained a lot of follows today, man.
That Patrick Mahomes picture reminded me of the ultimate from far distance. Like you're like hell yeah, and then you get up, you're like oh shit. You're like hold up.
She has a 4 o'clock shadow. What the fuck?
Like, hold on, wait, what?
The worst, I think Derek Carr was the worst one, bro. He looked like the fucking Undertaker.
Dude,
Russell Wilson looked pretty bad too. Like she looked.
I didn't see.
It looked like that. It looked like that chick that you meet at the bar that doesn't shut up about all her cool programs to save like nature and shit like that. And she just keeps talking about how she's gonna save the oak tree or whatever the fuck she does.
But you hit it. But you hit it anyways, though.
I mean, after like 14, 15 drinks, you're like, fuck it. I care about trees too. You want to go? You want to go?
That's right. Let's go talk about trees.
Let's go talk about roots and trees.
Speaking of roots, let me ground up.
What?
just bring up. He's just gonna try to transition into roots.
Hey, listen, I've never seen that movie. I've never seen that movie.
Never seen it?
Nope.
It's
I heard it was so bad that I just
it's not bad. It's tough to watch. It's not
like a tough watch. I'm saying it's so bad to watch, so hard to it's difficult.
It's like
to watch.
watching Schindler's List, bro. You're not gonna leave. You're not gonna leave the theater feeling good about the world and about humanity after watching it.
Well, I mean, listen, we're recording this podcast. It's gone obviously over to the June 20th now, but Juneteenth happened, and I was ignorant to what the hell that was. I never really knew what it was, to be honest with you. I'd never even heard of it. They didn't teach us this stuff in school. It's sad that they didn't teach us this stuff in school, but it was kind of cool to learn about it today. I did take some actual time and read stuff, and I only bring it up because I feel like we have such a cool, diverse group of people that are on this show. And just for me, Christian, X, Stank, who's extremely pasty white, and now Evan, who looks like he hasn't had a shower or shaved or cut his hair in like fucking 4 months or something like that. Like
I showered this morning, you fuck.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so then you looked like it. Didn't say you actually.
Just imagine what I look like when I don't shower.
Oh man, yeah. I'll think about that later. But
I'm sure you.
I bring that up because I think that we have a very diverse group of people, and we all met through one passion, which was we were Bucs fans, like, and nothing else really mattered. We don't see color. I'm like that anyway, but I always come back to sports being like this. I don't know how to really describe it. The ultimate melting pot, it's a
unifier, man. It's a unifier.
Yeah, unifier. It's like a level playing field. Like everybody in that locker room, regardless of color, creed, religion, all that, one goal, they become brothers and family. This show is kind of like that. We get these 4 guys that talk about football. Sometimes we have guests on here. Sometimes we don't. And then we have this, the Loose Cannons Facebook group and the people on Twitter and everybody who's a Bucs fan. Like, I feel like we get along decent, right? Especially within that group. I feel like there's not much, I bring it up because I think it's something that we should at least mention. And, sports can bring us together. So if that's possible, it can happen at any venue. It can happen at any level. It doesn't have to be in sports. So just, one of those cool little reminders. I learned something today about June 19th.
100%. I will mirror what you said. I had no clue what that was until just a couple of days ago when I started to hear about it, and actually listened to a podcast about it today. It's it's a failure on our education system. It's also ignorance on my own behalf for just not going out there and learning about those types of things on my own. I'm a 44-year-old man, and at this point I should know more about the history of this country than I do, or than what was taught to me. But it's teaching a 15-year-old, a 14-year-old, 13-year-old kid about American history. It's not really the time that you want to learn. You're not going to get excited about hearing about that kind of stuff. I'm more excited about learning about the history of this country now than I was when I was a kid, man. So who knows? If they talked about it when I was a kid, maybe I didn't pay attention.
They didn't. They
didn't
pay
attention
it up.
to a lot of.
They didn't bring it up.
I think it's a lot because as a kid you don't really understand history because you've never really been a part of it.
Yeah.
Your whole perception of the world from 8 to 15, it's just hard to grasp these subjects, and it's hard to see how deep everything goes and how ingrained racism and racial injustice has become in this society. And you go back to the gator bait thing. I mean, something, it seems harmless, but little do we know it has just this like crazy association. But anyways, going back to Juneteenth, I've only known about it for I think 3 or 4 years now, and that's because it was the title of an Atlanta episode, the FX show Atlanta. It's got Childish Gambino, Donald Glover, and I saw the title of the episode. And I was like, what the fuck is Juneteenth? And I looked it up, and I was like, oh shit. I was just like, how the hell do I know this? And it's because you're absolutely right, or y'all are both right. I mean, growing up, especially me, I grew up in a town called Lebanon, Tennessee, which is 30 minutes east of Nashville. Bumfuck, the sticks, hearing the N-word every single day. White girls who dated black guys were shunned. Black kids were N-lits, drop the N-word, then lits at the end of it. It's a complete term full of hate. And we weren't taught this type of stuff. This was not important. It was pushed to the back end, and if you ever brought it up, it was something that was a political point, or just something that was just always swept under the rug. And that is a lot of the reason, or if not the reason, why things have become the way they are today. And it sucks, man. It's absolutely terrible. But the best thing that we can all do moving forward is learning about this stuff and talking about it, like we are right now. And the ones who don't want to talk about it, those are the ones who really need to look in the mirror, because there's a lot. I'm not saying, you're racist or there's racism going on or anything like that. I'm just saying you're not willing to change, then there's a lot that you still got to work on.
I think a lot of people in this country are at least at the minimum, guilty of being willfully ignorant of what's been happening in the communities around us. I mean, as much as I love my fellow Black man, I love humanity, period. It's not like I go out, and make it a point to fight against it, like I should, or, it's not like I see it and ignore it. I've never been the type to do that. I will say something if I see it or if I'm around it. I don't play that shit. I've never tolerated it, but I'm also not on the forefront out there fighting for the rights of those who really need it, I've had to be introspective about how I can change my world, my bubble, and that's one of the things that I realize about myself, and I think a lot of people have also had that moment, to think about how they can also, change the situation that we're all dealing with right now, man. So it's
what's wild is I feel like in the 70s, the 60s, and the 50s, people back then weren't necessarily ignorant to it. They just kind of, turn the other way.
Turn the other cheek. Yeah.
Yeah. And then in my experiences, now I'm not comparing it obviously to African Americans, but in post 9/11 America, I'm Arab. My parents or my family were Muslim. And, I've faced a couple, situations and scenarios, not a couple, quite a few times that were unjust and prejudiced and racist to a degree. And when I've shared those experiences with people who are my friends, mostly white people, they're shocked. They're like, what? And they're appalled. And they're like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened to you. But they're just completely unaware that it even exists. And that was what the wildest thing for me was. They're like, what? No way. Like they were so shocked that it existed. And they were like, I can't believe that would happen to you. And you're like, damn, dude, like you guys really don't know. And some people do know and some people don't know. But that's like a thing where like people just may not know. And just having a conversation, creating a dialogue, having people talk and come together, at a table, at a restaurant, whatever the fuck it is, on a Zoom call, that opens people's eyes. Cause I don't think it's so much that everybody is racist, that all these people are racist. I just think that people just really don't know. They just aren't aware that these things still happen. to African Americans from when, schools were segregated and water fountains were segregated, all that stuff. It's still the same. It still happens. Maybe not to the same extent, but it's there. And even in social media, and everyone has a cell phone, you'd think that you would just be more aware of it. But even then, like, some stuff just doesn't come out until now. Like, oh my God.
I think it's deep. I think it's deeper than that, bro. I think people just don't give a fuck what's going on with other people's lives. They don't care. If it doesn't affect you or it doesn't affect me, it's like, I don't give a fuck. I got too many other things in my life to worry about than to fix your problem or fix this situation. And obviously a lot of people feel overwhelmed by it. Like, what can I do to, I don't act that way. What can I do? So I think there's a lot of that. And that's why I say it's a willful ignorance thing where it's going on. I mean, it's going on around us. If you look for it, you can hear the voices. They've been, people have been yelling and screaming at the top of their lungs about these injustices that have been occurring for years and years and years and years. I mean, if you listen to rap music, you know it, because every song, not every song, but a lot of the music's about it. A lot of the art's about it. We're all aware of what's going on. We just, like I said, we choose to focus our energies on other things. And I truly believe, that sentiment that, if everybody isn't free, then nobody is. If there's a piece of the population of this country, that doesn't feel safe, then how the fuck am I okay with just living my life? That's where I guess, some of that introspective change needs to happen. And I think it needs to happen throughout the country. Especially when white people are around other white people. You can't let that kind of shit slide. You can't, if you hear it, you can't let it slide. You can't, fold to the peer pressure of just, turning the other cheek, like you said. That kind of shit can't happen anymore. And I don't know how this podcast devolved into, a conversation about,
because we're diverse, man. We're diversified.
I know. Listen, I'm not saying it shouldn't have. I'm just saying,
it's all around us, man. I mean, we see it. That's what's cool about the show. We don't really have a format. We just kind of talk about whatever the fuck's going on, and maybe make some people uncomfortable. But you know what? Maybe that's not a bad thing.
Well, no, it's a form of therapy for us. We've always said that.
Right. It's not uncomfortable at all.
Sometimes it needs to be uncomfortable.
Tough conversations are all.
I'm talking like, I'm saying for some people it might be uncomfortable. That you know what I'm saying. Quit trying to twist my words, JBF.
No, I wasn't. No, I was saying, I was just adding on. I know what you meant. You were saying that you're not comfortable. You're not uncomfortable. But I'm saying sometimes we maybe need to make people uncomfortable too at the same time. So,
right.
Thanks for hanging out, bro. I know I give you a hard time a lot. You're actually a really cool fucking follow on Twitter. You're not that bad.
Same to you, big guy.
You're not that bad.
Thanks, man. Thanks, man. I don't know where you're pointing, so I'll just take it that
he was pointing at me, bro. He's definitely not pointing at you.
Only pointing at me. I'm glad that you joined us to defend the honor of our number one fan, our best friend of the show, soon to be the Matt Gay podcast. Matt Gay. I mean, he needed to be. I don't think he needed to be defended, but I'll be damned if you're going to talk about my family member and I'm going to let you get away with it.
I'm always down to stick up for the players, man. They take a lot of shit, so listen, I'm always one to ride and die with the players.
To piggyback on what you were saying, Sammer, hey, if for those who don't know or don't follow Evan closely, listen, if you like podcasts, go onto your app right now. Make sure you subscribe to the North South podcast. Bucs Nation, fucking Gil Arcia, the whole crew over there. They do it the right way. They're good people. They're our people, man. Evan's one of my favorite people on Twitter.
They write with integrity. They write with integrity and full context.
That's important. That's important.
Mm-hmm. Big deal.
I think
big deal to me.
I think so. Or you better be clear that you're not. And they do. They do. Evan's a huge Matt Gay fan, aren't you, Evan?
Huge.
Hey, I'm pulling for him all year this year, so let's get it done for sure.
I'm going to be a fan of Matt Gay, whether he's on this team or not. And if I don't see why he would never be on this team, just letting you know, Ira. Just saying. He'll be here. Evan, let people know how they can follow you on Twitter, though. I don't know your Twitter handle.
And everywhere else.
Yeah, no, at Evan_Winter. It's EVAN_WINTER, all lowercase letters. Again, on BucsNation.com, all over that place. And then the North and South podcast, just like Stank mentioned, you can find it on iTunes, Spotify. There's so many damn streaming apps. I'm just going to leave it with those two. But, yeah, everything else, just type in Bucs Nation and it'll pull up.
Evan, before you go, you need to take a shot at Stephen Beck. I am surprised we went almost 2 hours without you letting Stephen know what's up. So go ahead. I'm going to give you the floor. How do you feel about Stephen Beck?
Steven's my dude, man. I love Steven to death, man. I hope he's willing to taste his foot whenever Tampa Bay wins a Super Bowl in the next 2 years.
You heard it here.
I hope he enjoys the taste of his foot whenever it happens. I love you, Steven.
Because Steven's often wrong, so he should really know the taste of his own foot. He's wrong way more than he's right.
He would never tell you if he did.
If you follow us on Twitter enough, you know that he's secretly our like podcast dad. He's our Buccaneer. He's definitely our Buccaneer dad.
He's the shit, dude.
Show Winter the bottle. Show Winter the baby oil.
You haven't seen it?
I don't think.
No, I have not seen it. No, I have not.
He hasn't seen it. We got to send him a bottle to Tennessee, so he can put that up on the shelf in there.
Nice. Yes, you have to send some of that.
That's Stephen. That's Stephen Becks Baby Oil.
I'll make it down there and I'll grab some next time I'm down.
Stephen will be happy to know that you masturbate with a bottle of baby oil that has his face on it.
I use this every day. I apply it after my crude oil bath. In the mornings, yes. They coat my body.
You can actually rub your baby down with Stephen Becks Baby Oil. Use as intended.
Right, exactly. Man.
See,
it's made out of babies.
Real babies, actual babies.
Real babies go into this stuff. Like that's the secret. People, I don't know if people are going to listen all the way through this podcast at this point, so we can kind of divulge a secret or two.
We know Michelle is. What's up, Michelle? Thanks for tuning in to see me.
I know Matt's listening. I know Matt's watching. Matt watches just the other day, Matt's like, hey, when's the next episode? I can't wait. I'm like, Matt, man, chill out, bro. Come on, be cool.
Hold on. Let's take this one step at a time now.
Yeah.
Matt's our best friend now.
Calm down, Sammer. Calm down.
Calm down what?
Don't scare him away, bro.
Dude, Matt loves us, bro. Matt's my best friend now, man. I can't wait to hang out with Matt.
He is logging off now.
Matt's like, how do I get rid of these guys? All right. Thanks for everyone who hung in there and listened all the way through or watched all the way through. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for hitting the notification button. Give us a like. Give us a dislike. Probably not. Don't do that part. But
do the same to the Bucking Idiots podcast, baby.
Leave us a comment.
I'm at -8 followers, so I've had dislikes so far this month.
Yeah, I saw that. I thought it was pretty funny. Anyway, thanks for hanging out, Evan. Cool dude. Go get a haircut. Maybe shave your beard or something. I don't know. Maybe hit up Christian. He could help you out with that. I don't know.
Looking like the anorexic fucking Seth Rogen out here. What the fuck?
Yeah, you look, and you kind of look like I don't know his name. He's in that Silicon Valley show, and he's also the bartender in all the Deadpool movies.
TJ Miller.
Yeah, you kind of look a little bit like him.
Didn't that guy get arrested for molesting women?
Yeah, but he got off. He got off, and he was.
Oh, he got off.
You're thinking of Danny Masterson.
Yeah, that guy did too.
No. TJ got arrested for that shit too.
I know he did. I knew I'm not wrong.
But that's not what this podcast is about, so let's stop talking about it. And thanks for hanging out, guys. I'll see you later. Go Bucs.
Go Bucs.